Today is graduation day at a junior high school. The students joyfully take photos together, creating beautiful memories on their last day at school. Aiju Rentaro, one of the students, decides to make this final school day memorable by confessing his love to Asakawa, the girl of his dreams. Asakawa praises Rentaro for being cheerful, friendly, honest, and kind, qualities that make her like him. Unfortunately, she firmly responds that the thought of dating Rentaro makes her want to vomit. Unfazed, Rentaro retorts that he, too, would feel nauseous hearing Asakawa's answer. Asakawa runs away in tears, leaving him behind. Upon hearing Asakawa's response, Rentaro, for the first time, contemplates death due to heartbreak. Yes, he has been rejected 100 times. Friend A, Rentaro's close companion, observes him brooding near a roadside utility pole. Asakawa's rejection marks the 100th time. Teasingly, Friend bestows upon Rentaro the title of a love hero. Friend wonders aloud about Rentaro's age when he first confessed, to which Rentaro recalls the moment at 8 months old. Shocked, Friend suggests calling him a monster. Rentaro whines about wanting a girlfriend, yearning for the excitement of holding hands, playfully tickling each other in love games, and even throwing snowballs together. Friend A is puzzled as to why Rentaro, with his good looks, athleticism, excellent academic performance, kindness to everyone, and popularity among both genders, always faces rejection. Friend A encourages him and advises Rentaro not to contemplate suicide, even though his rejection record may increase in high school. An irritated Rentaro resents his friend for making such harsh remarks. Rentaro heads to a temple, where he pleads with the god of love and Buddha, praying for a pleasant high school life and a girlfriend. Suddenly, a voice responds to his prayer. A face emerges from the table, startling Rentaro, who accuses the figure of being a thief stealing temple offerings. The angered deity reveals himself as a winged grandfather, claiming to be the temple's god. He declares that Rentaro will meet his destined match in high school, a soulmate predetermined for him. However, he notes that women can instantly recognize their soulmates, while men might take some time to realize it. Humans will meet their soulmates at a predestined time, but some may not have one. Those with soulmates are considered extremely fortunate. The god informs Rentaro that he will encounter 100 soulmates in high school. Rentaro is shocked by the revelation. 1 month later, the new student admission ceremony at Ohanamitsu High School finally arrives, a day eagerly anticipated by Rentaro. After the ceremony, each class receives instructions regarding school rules. While walking through the classroom corridor, Rentaro accidentally collides with 2 female students simultaneously. All 3 of them tumble, and Rentaro apologizes to both. Their eyes meet, and they feel an extraordinary vibration. Rentaro experiences an incredible shock that spreads throughout his body. Could this be what the god referred to as destiny? Unintentionally, Rentaro gazes at them, then bows out of fear of appearing impolite. Rentaro stands up and extends a helping hand. He asks if they are okay. The pink-haired girl pretends to have sprained her ankle and asks Rentaro to take her to the school medical room. Rentaro's tearful reaction to accidentally hurting her fascinates the girl, appreciating Rentaro's kindness. As he helps her stand, the long-haired, orange-haired girl feels a bit jealous and claims her ankle is also sprained. Rentaro blames himself for being careless and continues punching himself. Both girls panic and quickly stand up. Rentaro asks if their legs still hurt, and they both pretend to be in pain. Rentaro embraces them. The 2 girls compete to stay close to Rentaro, hugging him tightly. Rentaro is confused about how this could happen. He introduces himself to them. The pink-haired girl is Hanazono Hikari, and the orange-haired girl is Inda Karene. Surprisingly, all 3 are first-year students in class 1 to 4. As they pass through the classroom corridor, they overhear other students discussing the school's love miracles. There's a pink clover garden on campus, and the myth says that confessing love while getting a 4-leaf clover ensures acceptance. Rumors suggest that this myth has been proven true by many. Upon hearing this, Hikari and Karene immediately run off, leaving Rentaro behind. After school, Rentaro helps a teacher search for his contact lenses, spending 4 hours looking for them. Rentaro had intended to chat with Hikari and Karene. But when he looks out the window, he is surprised to find them still in the garden, searching for the four-leaf clover. 4 hours have passed, meaning they spent 4 hours searching and still haven't found it. Rentaro is puzzled by people who do such things, especially considering he spent 4 hours looking for contact lenses himself. Seeing Hikari and Kurana's earnestness, Rentaro doesn't just stand by. He brings canned juice for both of them. Rentaro calls Kurana, asking if she's searching for a four-leaf clover. Startled, Kurana says she's just taking some personal time. But Rentaro knows she's lying and asks her not to hide her embarrassment. Rentaro looks for Hikari. Kurana suggests she might be in the restroom. Rentaro hands Kurana a canned orange juice, and he encourages her to drink it immediately as she looks tired. Kurana, appearing shy and reluctant, hesitates to accept it. She pretends to be a bit aloof towards Rentaro, even claiming she'll drink it only because it would be wasteful, though it might cause acidity and embarrassment given their recent acquaintance. She thanks him and leaves. Hikari arrives and questions why Rentaro hasn't gone home yet. Seeing Hikari and Kurana tired from searching for the four-leaf clover, Rentaro wants to offer them juice. Unlike Kurana, who acts a bit standoffish and curt towards Rentaro, Hikari smiles and happily accepts the juice. Hikari's devious plan is to indirectly get a kiss from Rentaro. The juice contains 350 ml, and she says if they can't finish it all, Rentaro should drink half. However, Rentaro actually bought a 190 ml size and swaps it. Cunningly, Hikari argues that half of 350 is 175, so Rentaro should drink 15 ml first, and she'll have the rest. Innocently, Rentaro agrees, takes a sip, and hands the remainder to Hikari. After giving it to her, Rentaro realizes that he was about to indirectly kiss Hikari. However, overwhelmed with nervousness, Hikari accidentally spills the juice. She's devastated by the failure to get an indirect kiss from Rentaro. Rentaro gives her his handkerchief to clean the juice off her skirt. In an unexpected turn, Hikari grabs Rentaro's hand and confesses her love, asking him to be her boyfriend. She admits to falling in love with Rentaro at first sight. It's the first time Rentaro has been confessed to by a girl, and he's deeply moved. Just as he's about to respond, Corinne suddenly appears with various canned juices, causing a messy scene. She bought all the juices because she didn't know which one Rentaro liked, even though she denies it's a thank you gesture to Rentaro. Kurana scolds Hikari for taking the initiative to confess to Rentaro. Despite initially denying her feelings for Rentaro, Kurana declares that she wants to be Rentaro's girlfriend. Rentaro is left undecided on whom he will date. That night, Rentaro was in a dilemma, trying to choose which one to be his girlfriend, as both Hikari and Kurana had strong attractions. He decided to visit the shrine and consult with the god. The god revealed that both Hikari and Kurana were Rentaro's soulmates. Typically, everyone has only one soulmate. But a serious incident occurred during Rentaro's birth. As the god of love, a mistake happened when writing the destiny of Rentaro's soulmate, and the number 100 was mistakenly assigned. This mishap occurred as the god was distracted while watching television. The god also conveyed that those who have found their soulmates can live happily together, but if unhappiness occurs, something drastic will happen, leading to death. People with soulmates enjoy a lifetime of good fortune, and if that luck is missed, only misfortune remains. Therefore, if Rentaro chooses one and rejects the other, the rejected one will die. Throughout the night, Rentaro pondered over this difficult choice. He initially planned to reject both in front of them and secretly maintain relationships with each other to save them from death. However, he recalled his own experience of receiving rejection and realized that expressing love requires courage. Hikari and Kurana had already put in tremendous effort to gather their courage, and Rentaro decided he needed to face the situation with the same bravery. The next morning, Rentaro met both of them with a very dirty condition. Hikari and Kurana asked for Rentaro's answer quickly. Rentaro replied that he chose both of them to be his girlfriends. He loves both of them and can't choose between them. He will do everything he has to make both of them happy. Kurana got angry and considered Rentaro's words crazy. Rentaro showed 2 four-leaf clovers. Apparently, he had been searching for them all night at school. Kurana immediately rejected him, especially having to date 2 girls at the same time, which disgusted her. Kurana thought the clovers Rentaro brought were just to show sincerity. Kurana got angry and wanted to hit Rentaro, but Hikari tried to calm her down. Rentaro brought the clovers because he saw both of them working hard to find them, and he thought it could be a romantic gesture. He brought them to respond to their love confessions and make them happy. Hikari accepted Rentaro's decision. She couldn't hold back her feelings for Rentaro and couldn't imagine falling in love with anyone other than him. Being rejected for dating two girls at once seemed like a trivial matter to her. Hikari embraced Rentaro, expressing her desire to be happy with him. Kurana eventually chose to date Rentaro, stating that she wouldn't forgive him if he didn't make her happy. Kurana held Rentaro's hand, teasingly reminding him that earlier she didn't want to be shared. Rentaro exclaimed with determination that he would make both of them happy. With this, the peculiar harem love story begins, and Rentaro still has 98 soulmates left. Will Rentaro let each of his soulmates appear and die one by one, or will he love them all? Stay tuned for the next episode. The scene begins with Rentaro sharing his story with a utility pole about his stroke of luck in getting a girlfriend. His dream of going to school with his girlfriend is about to come true, especially with two girls at the same time. Hikari greets Rentaro with her sweet smile. Kurana, on the other hand, looks surprised to see Rentaro talking to a utility pole. Rentaro greets both of them, and Kurana questions why Rentaro is doing something foolish. Rentaro, feeling embarrassed, explains that he's too excited because he finally has a girlfriend. He approaches both girls to invite them to go to school together. Hikari eagerly takes his hand and comments on the nice weather. It's the first time Rentaro touches a girl's hand. Hikari's smooth, soft, and warm hand makes Rentaro's soul squirm as if it wants to escape from his body. Similarly, Hikari feels Rentaro's large and muscular hand, indicating that he's a guy who enjoys holding hands with his girlfriend. She floats in Rentaro's grasp, making him say something off-topic about the beautiful, strong, and handsome weather. Not forgetting, Rentaro also holds Kurana's hand and invites them to walk together. Kurana is surprised, but because she is the shy type, she says she's not interested in holding hands. Rentaro refers to her as not just a shy cat anymore, but a shy electric shock. Walking hand in hand with girls on the way to school is the happiest moment in Rentaro's life. He expresses his love to the girls, but only Hikari responds with words of love. Kurana diverts the topic to the nice weather. Rentaro mentions the last names of the two girls, as he has been calling Hikari Harazono and Kurana Inda. Upon hearing this, Hikari stops and asks Rentaro to call her by her first name, not her family name. Rentaro agrees, and when he calls Hikari by her name, she blushes. Kurana calls Rentaro, and Rentaro mentions her name. The three of them continue to mention names all the way until they enter the school. Students who hear them think they are taking attendance. Suddenly, a student is seen running fast, chased by someone who turns out to be the vice principal's mother, shouting for forgiveness. The vice principal's mother is very strict about school rules. So if a student runs in the school corridor, they will be chased everywhere, and when caught, they will be kissed thoroughly, a kind of severe mental punishment. The vice principal's mother is a former athlete, so no one can escape her kisses. Students call her the Speedy Witch Grandma. Discussing kisses, Hikari asks if Rentaro has ever kissed. Rentaro replies that he hasn't, and they are each other's first boyfriend and girlfriend. This means that between Hikari and Kurana, the one who kisses him first will be Rentaro's first kiss. Hikari and Kurana will compete to get Rentaro's first kiss. During the school break, the three of them sat at the edge of the field. As it was early in the school year and the weather was cold, the field appeared deserted. Hikari opened her lunchbox and proudly displayed the omelet she made. She then asked Rentaro to open his mouth and promptly fed him a bite. Rentaro praised Hikari's cooking as the tastiest in the universe. Not to be outdone, Kurana offered her homemade cookies, asking Rentaro to open his mouth. However, due to her lack of caution, she accidentally fed Rentaro's eye. Rentaro tasted the cookies and declared them the tastiest in the entire universe, frustrating Kurana as she questioned how many universes existed in Rentaro's head. Hikari brought out Baki snacks, purposely opening it upside down to reveal the chocolate part. Claiming she didn't want to dirty her hands, she fed Rentaro using her lips. She bit one end of the baki and gave the other end to Rentaro's lips. As they chewed, their faces got closer, a trick Hikari used to attempt to get Rentaro's first kiss. Seeing this, Karane didn't want to be outdone. She took a baki and did the same thing as Hikari, but unfortunately, she accidentally jabbed it into Rentaro's eye. Karane's long hair touched Rentaro's nose, making him sneeze. Their baki snapped, and their plan failed miserably. Seeing Rentaro's red eyes, Karane suggested spreading his virus to her mouth to heal quickly. Although it was just superstition, Rentaro called Karane the main attacker girl. Karane pulled Rentaro's head closer to hers, sensing his face getting closer and ready to receive the kiss. However, Hikari intervened with her ample chest, causing Karane to fall. Shocked, Karane felt the soft and firm texture of Hikari's chest. Hikari suggested measuring Rentaro's body temperature, not only through the forehead, but also through the lips, claiming it's a family tradition. Rentaro argued that not even in nightclubs was there a culture of measuring temperature like that. As Rentaro and Hikari's faces got closer, Karane managed to separate them. She pushed Rentaro, causing him to fall, and then she pinned him down, pretending he fainted so she could perform artificial respiration. Rentaro exclaimed that their logic was already broken. Hikari arrived and punched Karane with her chest, making Karane fall. Rentaro got up and calmed them both down. Rentaro understood that they were both trying to get his kiss. He appreciated their efforts to kiss him, finding it very sweet. The only problem was deciding who deserved his first kiss. Rentaro anticipated this would happen, and he had already thought of a way the night before. He even conducted a simulation. Basically, they shouldn't know who would get the first kiss. The method was that both of them would stand using blindfolds while listening to loud music through earphones. Their standing positions would be determined by a roll of the dice, with the taller one standing on the right. Rentaro himself wouldn't know their positions since he used a blindfold and had the music player. After determining the positions, Rentaro received a signal from his music player. The one who gets the kiss must adjust the volume louder. Rentaro had to roll the dice to decide where he would walk. If the dice showed an even number, he would walk to the left. After kissing both of them, Rentaro would walk back to the original spot, and they would shuffle their positions according to another dice roll. Once done, they would remove the blindfold and the music player. What remained would be the sweet memories of the first kiss with their loved ones. Rentaro's plan was as extraordinary as playing the liar game. Karane interrupted, saying there might be cheating in this game with the blindfold. However, Rentaro suggested that everyone make a pinky promise not to cheat and agreed that anyone who broke the promise would have to drink 1,000 needles. It's actually a childish game, but because it was a promise, it had to be kept. And so the promise was made together. The game began and Rentaro rolled the dice, getting an even number. He chose to go to the left because his eyes were covered, making him unsure of the exact distance and position of his girlfriend's faces. To avoid collisions, he started by touching the shoulder, but his hand accidentally squeezed a large breast, and Rentaro immediately knew the girl in front of him was Hikari. To show respect to Karane, he repeated the process. Hikari looked embarrassed due to Rentaro's recent actions. With blushing faces, they invited Karane to repeat the process. While Rentaro was walking toward them, a mesmerized cat observed Karane's skirt fluttering in the wind. The cat jumped at Karane and played with the ribbon that was on her underwear. The cat repeatedly touched Karane. She reflexively kicked and said Rentaro was a pervert. The kick hit Rentaro. He screamed in pain. Rentaro fell and Karane beat him after removing the blindfold. Karane then found out that it was the work of the wild cat. The game had to be restarted and Hikari saw Rentaro's battered face. They repeated it again, but failed many times. This plan never worked, and both Hikari and Karane blamed each other. Rentaro begged them to stop fighting. He didn't expect the first kiss to make his two girlfriends fight. It was all because he was inexperienced in love. Rentaro, who was desperate, ran towards the corridor and called the deputy principal's mother. Hearing that, the deputy principal smiled. She ran after Rentaro. Hikari and Karane chased him. They didn't want Rentaro to be kissed by the old lady. The former athlete's old lady ran very fast. She was very excited to give Rentaro a love whip as punishment. He managed to catch Rentaro, pinned him down, and prepared to give him his love whip. Kuranai swiftly strangled her to protect Rentaro from his crazy punishment. Hikari opened the corridor window and called out to Mr. Committee to report the harassment of the deputy principal. The old lady let go of Rentaro and got up away from them. She didn't want to lose her job because she had to save money to be able to kiss handsome men in nightclubs. Hikari and Kuranai approached Rentaro, questioning why he acted this way. Rentaro loves both of them. It might seem selfish, but he only wants them to be close. His first kiss caused them to argue, so he decided to discard his first kiss into the mud puddle. Unanimously, they responded that rather than having Rentaro's first kiss taken by the mud puddle, they would prefer to be stolen 110 times by her, pointing to each other. They discovered that they both love Rentaro. Hearing this, Rentaro was overjoyed, and he hugged them tightly. Rentaro proposed a solution for his first kiss predicament. He suggested a three-way kiss. This way, they wouldn't just be kissing Rentaro, but Hikari and Kuranai would also share a kiss. Rentaro reassured them that they could do it. Hikari and Kuranai were stunned at Rentaro's crazy idea. Rentaro held one hand of Hikari and Kuranai each. With their other hands, Hikari and Kuranai held each other. They closed their eyes, leaned in, and with a slight parting of their lips, the three-way kiss happened beautifully in the late afternoon. Their positioning resembled a picture inviting UFOs on the school rooftop. The next day, the three of them went to the library together. Hikari wanted to find a cookbook. Rentaro loved the omelette she made yesterday, so she wanted to cook another dish for him. Similarly, Kuranai, not wanting to be outdone, also wanted to try cooking for Rentaro. However, Kuranai always said it shyly. She didn't want to appear to like Rentaro, even though, in reality, she was very fond of him. Hikari and Kuranai read cookbooks together. Even though they seemed not to get along at first, they became close since that kiss. Rentaro went to the adjacent bookshelf, looking for a book he might read. Suddenly, his eyes were drawn to the books in front of him, a book about love. Quickly, he reached for the book that piqued his interest, but accidentally touched the hand of a small, purple-haired girl trying to reach for the same book. Their eyes met unintentionally, sending a strange sensation coursing through their bodies. Could this girl also be Rentaro's destiny? Stay tuned for the next episode. In the beginning of this episode, a scene is depicted in a palace where a girl with long purple hair has been destined for loneliness. She has surrendered to fate, and as a princess, she will not reject the destiny that has been determined since birth. This girl accidentally locks eyes with Rentaro in the library. A surprise flows through her entire body, and Rentaro feels something similar. This signal indicates that she is his destined partner. Rentaro never expected to meet his soulmate in the library. The girl steps back and opens a page of the book she just grabbed. She asks Rentaro to read the sentence she points to. Rentaro reads it, and it says, "I am the one who rules this land." Rentaro asks if she is a librarian. She points to a sentence in the book that says, "Yes, that's correct." Surprised, Rentaro wonders if there's a rule against talking in the library. He reflexively covers his mouth and looks around. The girl again points to the sentence in the book that reads, "What are you looking for by coming here? I am willing to help you." Rentaro begins to act out what he wants to say, but the girl shows him the writing. "Why aren't you opening your mouth?" Rentaro stops his demonstration and explains why he also didn't open his mouth. The girl shows a sentence that reads, "I'm sorry, she's not good at speaking with others." Rentaro understands and says he'll find someone else. However, the girl seems disappointed and runs away. Rentaro chases after her and taps her shoulder. He asks her to help him find a book he wants to read. She turns and follows him. Rentaro asks if there's a novel about romance that ends happily, where despite facing many challenges, the couple ends up happy. He wants her to recommend a book for him. She nods and immediately grabs several books from various shelves, handing them to Rentaro. Despite her petite stature, she is willing to fetch various books for Rentaro. Rentaro sees her enthusiasm and is even more impressed after seeing the piles of books she hands him. Using the writing in the book, she apologizes if this is bothersome to Rentaro and lets him choose whichever he likes best. Rentaro decided he would read all of them since the girl had gone through the trouble of fetching them for him. He immediately went to the lending desk to borrow all the books. Unfortunately, his new library card would only be ready and usable next week. Suddenly, the girl approached Rentaro and offered him one of her books, intending to lend it to him. Rentaro smiled, accepting it gratefully. He asked for the girl's name. She showed him her student card. It read Yoshimoto Shizuka, Class 1 to 4, the same class as Rentaro. Rentaro introduced himself, apologizing for not recognizing all the faces in his class yet. Meanwhile, Hikari and Karain were engrossed in reading a cookbook together. Hikari remarked that Rentaro would love it if she cooked the dishes from her book. Curious, Karain asked to see it, even though she herself was holding a cookbook. Rentaro came over and praised both of them for diligently reading through all those cookbooks. The pile of books continued to grow as Hikari imagined dishes that would make Rentaro happy. Shyly, Karain admitted she was just reading to expand her knowledge about cooking. Rentaro was touched and teary-eyed seeing both of his girlfriends being so dedicated. That night, Rentaro read the book given by Shizuka titled The Love Story of the Crown Princess. The book narrated the tale of Princess Lo and Knight Kamakuru, who faced numerous challenges and fate. Princess Lo knighted Kamakuru, expecting him to be a wise and just exemplar. Kamakuru vowed to protect the princess with all his might. True to his word, he managed to defeat a monster set on attacking the princess. Princess Lo stayed by Kamakuru's side as he recuperated, their eyes meeting across the boundary between princess and knight. Eventually, they found their way to each other's hearts, falling in love. One day, Princess Lo was to leave for a neighboring country, as she was already betrothed to the neighboring kingdom's prince. Kamakuru approached Princess Lo's carriage but was blocked by guards. Although Kamakuru would give his all to protect Princess Lo, he couldn't defy his fate. Rentaro shed tears as he read, encouraging both Kamakuru and Princess Lo not to be defeated by fate, to face all challenges and find happiness. And so, the first volume concluded here. The story continued in the second volume. After finishing the book, Rentaro pondered the concept of fate. Those destined for each other. If they didn't love and live happily, they would die. The next morning in classroom 1 to 4, Rentaro greeted Shizuka and intended to return the book he had borrowed yesterday. Shizuka was surprised to see Rentaro approaching her. Rentaro had finished reading it and admitted that the story in the book was very captivating. He noticed an open bag next to Shizuka, inside which was a book similar to the one he borrowed. Rentaro asked if that was the second volume of the book. Shizuka handed the second volume to Rentaro. He was very grateful to her as he was very curious about its continuation. As a gesture of gratitude, Rentaro invited Shizuka out of the classroom. As they reached the classroom door, he saw both of his girlfriends arguing over which dish they wanted to cook for him. Seeing this, Rentaro felt they had already become close. He bought Shizuka a canned drink. They sat together on a bench at the back of the schoolyard. Rentaro tried to get closer to Shizuka. He had read many romance books, but the one he borrowed from Shizuka was truly captivating and made his heart race, especially the part where the princess and the knight accidentally crossed paths. Shizuka had taken care of that book since childhood and had read it repeatedly, so she understood its content very well. She even knew the structure of sentences on every page. Rentaro understood that this was why Shizuka used the book as her means of communication, quickly navigating its dialogues to converse. He himself couldn't comprehend literature to that extent. Shizuka was truly remarkable. However, Shizuka didn't want to be praised like that. Her ability came naturally to her. She had no one in her life she could call a friend, and it was in the world of books that she found solace. She was deeply grateful to Rentaro, pleading with him not to hate her. Rentaro could never hate her. He borrowed the first volume of the book again, promising to return it soon. In the library, the librarian approached Shizuka, remarking that she seemed happy and wondering if something good had happened. Shizuka panicked, clarifying that nothing had happened, she was just doing her usual duties. Shizuka then went to the bookshelf where she first saw Rentaro. There, she reenacted the scene from the previous day with her hands. The next day, Shizuka waited for Rentaro to approach her, even bringing along the third volume of the book. However, Rentaro didn't show up until the third day. Walking through the school hallway, she spotted Rentaro sitting with two girls beside him. Rentaro was with his two girlfriends, Hikari and Karain. Concerned about Rentaro's apparent lack of sleep, Rentaro, smiling, mentioned he had been trying to do something every night. Immediately, Hikari and Karain's minds wandered to lewd thoughts. Seeing Rentaro slightly exhausted and yawning, Hikari swiftly kissed his cheek, intending to share her enthusiasm. Rentaro happily embraced her, even calling her his angel. Karain, feeling left out, also intended to kiss him but ended up bumping her head against Rentaro's. He referred to it as a boost of fighting spirit. Gratefully, Rentaro called Karain his Gradius, which means war god. From behind the hallway, Shizuka witnessed everything. She felt heartbroken upon realizing Rentaro already had girlfriends, and naturally, he wouldn't have time to read books. She instantly recalled her past, being shunned by her peers who found her weird because she communicated through books. Even her mother often scolded her, urging Shizuka to talk like other kids. Her mother despised her, labeling her as a strange child. Overwhelmed with emotions, Shizuka cried, feeling utterly alone. After school, Rentaro approached Shizuka in the library. She was taken aback by his sudden appearance. Rentaro inquired if Shizuka had a gadget, asking her to install an application, assuring, "This application is designed to convert typed text into electronic voice." After installing the app on his gadget, Rentaro sent a file containing the text of the book story that Shizuka had lent him. Rentaro had manually typed every single word from the book. Until now, Shizuka communicated through books, never looking directly at her conversation partner. With this app, she could communicate while maintaining eye contact. Rentaro wanted to help Shizuka communicate more easily with others. He asked her to give it a try. However, the sentence that appeared was, "I like you." Rentaro was taken aback. Shizuka cried and told Rentaro to ignore it. She didn't expect him to reciprocate because she knew Rentaro already had a girlfriend. Rentaro accepted it, not because he didn't care about the girl's feelings, but because his own feelings told him that he loved her too. Through the app, Shizuka expressed that she and Rentaro seemed destined not to be together. Just like the story of the princess and the knight in the book, Rentaro said they just needed to defy that fate. He hugged the tearful Shizuka and they started dating. Rentaro faced Hikari and Karain, introducing Shizuka as his new girlfriend and asking them to accept her. An angered Karain commented that Rentaro's brain must have gone rotten. In contrast, Hikari admired Rentaro for not abandoning her and Karain even after getting a new girlfriend. Rentaro assured them that his feelings for them hadn't shifted to Shizuka. He likened it to finding a new oil field while not abandoning the existing one. Most importantly, his feelings for all three of his girlfriends would never change. He would enhance his love for them through his actions. Rentaro also told them to be honest if they ever felt unhappy. At that point, he would commit seppuku. Karain looked furious, while Hikari praised Rentaro as the best among men. To Rentaro, it was a fitting punishment for someone who hurt the ones he loved. Such a person didn't deserve to live. He even ordered a knife for it. With Rentaro's unwavering determination, this peculiar relationship expanded. Will Rentaro be able to manage this eccentric relationship, especially being inexperienced in love? Will he truly go through with his threat? Stay tuned for the next episode, and remember, Rentaro still has 97 more girls to go. Rentaro introduced his three girlfriends to each other. Hikari and Karain were curious about what kind of girl Shizuka was, as she seemed pretty normal. They were taken aback when Shizuka replied to their greetings using a voice gadget. Rentaro had entered the names of the first-year students into the second volume of the book data on the app Shizuka used, making it easier for her to communicate with her friends. Shizuka tested it by calling Rentaro's name, followed by Miss Karain and Miss Hikari. Seeing Karain's discomfort, Shizuka was asked not to address her so formally. Rentaro explained to Hikari and Karain about Shizuka's unique way of communicating through her favorite book. Shizuka was also the librarian and had a deep love for books. Rentaro mentioned that one endearing trait of Shizuka was how her foot moved while reading. Her toes would wiggle based on her emotions, reminiscent of a puppy's tail, making her emotions transparent. Karain's charm was evident when she becomes shy and twirled the end of her long hair around her finger when praised, transforming her demeanor into something especially sweet. Meanwhile, Hikari's allure, according to Rentaro, was how she sucked on her finger when deep in thought, which made his heart race. Moved by Rentero's keen observations, Hikari, Kurane, and Shizuka felt deeply touched. Rentero further shared that when Hikari kissed, she slightly puckered her lips, and Kurane seemed to struggle to hold her breath during a kiss. Shizuka was surprised to learn that their relationships had progressed to exchanging kisses and apologized for any anxiety she might have caused. Unexpectedly, Hikari asked Shizuka if she wanted to try it too. However, Shizuka declined, stating she wanted to preserve her virginity as per her beliefs. She apologized to Rentero, but he reassured her that it was all right. He believed they should take things step by step without rushing. Rentero respected Shizuka's decision, emphasizing that he would only proceed if she genuinely wanted to. As Hikari and Kurane listened, they couldn't help but wonder about sharing a kiss with Rentero themselves, lost in their thoughts as they continued to eat. They all had lunch together. As usual, Hikari and Kurane vied to feed Rentero. Hikari fed him gently, while Kurane did it with a touch of forcefulness. Rentero's mouth was soon full, and he humorously dubbed himself the Prince Shotoku of the culinary world. After finishing their meal, Hikari and Kurane argued over who would get to talk to Rentero. Meanwhile, Shizuka ate quietly on her own, observing their squabble. The close proximity of Hikari's and Kurane's faces during their argument made Rentero jest that they looked like they were about to kiss. Rentero glanced at Shizuka, who still seemed reserved. He understood that it might be challenging for Shizuka to immediately bond with Hikari and Kurane. Many people tend to hide their true feelings when they first meet someone, suppressing their emotions to avoid potential dislike. However, understanding and expressing feelings can lead to deeper connections. With this in mind, Rentero decided to plan something to help everyone bond. He pulled out a deck of cards and suggested they play a game of devil's tickling. To make it more exciting, Rentero added a rule: the loser would be tickled by the winner. He believed that such a playful punishment could unveil hidden emotions, emphasizing the importance of physical contact and smiles in the process. He named this game the Laughing Bonding Strategy. All three agreed, and Rentero jokingly felt he might be outnumbered in the game. The first round ended with Rentero as the winner and Kurane as the loser. Instead of feeling upset, Kurane eagerly anticipated her punishment from Rentero. As Rentero began to tickle her, Kurane surprised everyone by dropping to the ground and striking a rather risque pose. In the second round, Rentero won again, with Hikari losing this time. Like Kurane, Hikari was thrilled to receive her punishment. She approached Rentero, starting to unzip her sweater. Kurane quickly intervened, stopping her from proceeding further. Rentero began tickling Hikari, and she laughed heartily, enjoying the sensation of his large hands exploring her body. She jokingly admitted that she almost wet herself from the overwhelming sensation. The third round concluded with Rentero triumphing once more and Shizuka as the loser. Rentero was eager to tickle Shizuka, curious about the kind of laughter she would produce. However, as he tickled her, Shizuka simply smiled. Through her gadget, she conveyed that she was laughing loudly. Rentero realized that Shizuka's laughter transcended dimensions in its intensity. Rentero commented to Shizuka that even her laughter required a quote on her gadget. Shizuka acknowledged this, noting how sad it seemed. Rentero loved the sweet sound of Shizuka's laughter. Hikari and Kurane described it as a form of pollution-free laughter. Both of them were eager to best Rentero in the next round. They hoped to tickle him and touch various parts of his body, encouraging each other to win. The fourth round concluded with Rentero's defeat, but Shizuka emerged as the ultimate winner. Rentero prepared himself for a playful punishment from Shizuka. However, instead of tickling him vigorously, Shizuka merely poked him, causing Rentero to chuckle slightly. Hikari, witnessing this, was puzzled. She thought this was a golden opportunity to touch Rentero and get away with accidental touches. She believed Rentero had feelings for Shizuka due to her reserved and timid nature. Hikari saw herself as a flirtatious girl with innocent eyes, sweet gestures, and a high-pitched voice. In contrast, Shizuka's shy demeanor, trembling body, and apparent vulnerability made others naturally want to protect her. Shizuka's behavior was akin to a tall, impenetrable wall compared to Kurane's. After ending her playful poke, Shizuka excused herself to the restroom. Hikari jokingly assumed Rentero had wet himself. Hikari, Shizuka, and Kurane waited for Rentaro, the atmosphere among them palpably tense. Kuranen questioned Shizuka's earlier actions, growing visibly upset and repeating her inquiries. She also wondered why Shizuka seemed so hesitant around both her and Hikari. Through her gadget, Shizuka denied the accusations. Kuranen believed Shizuka was the only one not making an effort to get closer to Rentaro. While Shizuka desired to touch him, her timid poke indicated otherwise. Hikari tried to soothe the situation, noting that Kuranen's harsh tone might scare Shizuka. Unaware of her own intensity, Kuranen asserted that Shizuka should view them as equals, both being Rentaro's girlfriends. This statement angered Kuranen. She disliked people who hesitated to express their feelings. Ironically, Hikari pointed out that Kuranen herself often struggled with her own emotions. Shizuka agreed with Kuranen's sentiments and apologized. This was the response Kuranen had hoped for, wanting Shizuka to engage with her. Shizuka admitted to feeling intimidated, especially when compared to Hikari's grace and beauty, combined with Kuranen's striking eyes and strong-willed nature. Shizuka feared that Rentaro might compare her to them. Both Hikari and Kuranen were deeply moved by Shizuka's confession. Shizuka also acknowledged her average appearance, childlike stature, and introverted behavior, feeling inadequate compared to them. Kuranen reassured her, insisting that Shizuka was indeed sweet, petite, and gentle. She apologized for her earlier outburst. Hikari told Shizuka not to worry about it because Rentaro's love for all three of his girlfriends was immeasurable. She believed Rentaro was well aware of Shizuka's many other good qualities. While Shizuka continued to address them formally, Kuranen reminded her to use a more casual tone. She also encouraged Shizuka not to be shy and to express her desires to Rentaro if she had any. Hikari wanted Shizuka to stop being overly polite to both her and Kuranen since the three of them shared the same boyfriend. Shizuka didn't mind agreeing to their requests. From behind the restroom door, Rentaro overheard their entire conversation. He had intentionally gone to the restroom, leaving them to bond. To his surprise, the outcome was even better than he had anticipated. When Shizuka playfully poked him, he noticed Kuranen's irritation. Rentaro had initially planned to diffuse Kuranen's potential anger before any dispute arose. However, he was more concerned that their concealed feelings would prevent them from truly bonding. To encourage them to be brave, Rentaro realized he too needed to be courageous in facilitating their communication. As expected, Kuranen's outburst was out of concern for Shizuka. Hikari made sure Kuranen's anger didn't directly affect Shizuka. This gave Shizuka the confidence to express her own feelings. Touched by the turn of events, Rentaro emerged from the restroom. Kuranen approached him, requesting a redo of the earlier playful punishment, since Shizuka's poke hadn't tickled him. Kuranen instructed Shizuka to tickle Rentaro again. Hikari reassured Shizuka, emphasizing that everything they were doing was for her. Shizuka recalled Kuranen's advice to be straightforward and brave about her feelings. Approaching Rentaro, she confessed through her gadget that she wanted to kiss him. Her earlier claim about preserving her chastity as per divine will was a lie. Grateful and overjoyed, Rentaro stroked her head affectionately. As they leaned in, they finally shared a kiss. Watching in astonishment, Kuranen's expression was one of surprise. Hikari praised Kuranen for helping Shizuka be honest about her desires and teased her to be upfront about her own. Moving closer to Rentaro, Hikari expressed her own desire to kiss him. Staring into her eyes, Rentaro playfully asked if Hikari was any less sweet than Shizuka. Of course, he reassured her that all three, Hikari, Kuranen, and Shizuka, were the sweetest girls in the world. Having expected such an answer, Hikari closed her eyes, and they shared a passionate kiss. Rentaro then called out to Kuranen. She turned her face away, but admitting she wasn't particularly keen on it, she agreed to a kiss. As Rentaro hugged her, he complimented Kuranen on her sweetness. Pulling away, Kuranen blushed, looking endearingly embarrassed. She cried and began hitting Rentaro, the force of her punches increasing with each moment. Laughing, Rentaro expressed his desire to kiss her too. They shared a warm, heartfelt kiss. All three girls, Hikari, Kuranen, and Shizuka, got what they wanted. Smiling, Rentaro wondered if he was allowed to be this happy. He thanked them, but they responded in unison, insisting that they should be the ones thanking him.